So Mr. Pereira started with this slide. And I think he did some marketing as well. All his tile presentation is there. But I think he doesn't need to do marketing these days because they have so much of demand than what they produce. Right.
It's a monopoly market, sir.
Not monopoly, oligopoly, I think. Monopoly is only one company. I think there are several companies, I think, all tiles, all these things. Maybe.
But all the thing comes under one wings, right?
Maybe, all are coming under Mr. Dhammika Perera, is it?
Yes, they purchase Volatile, Lanka, Volatile, everything. They got that majority of the.
Yeah.
So I think everything is under him.
Oh. I'm not sure. I think this is not very good situation actually, because
why I mentioned my first job was with Lanka Volatile.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So Gavini, you went from volatiles to
banking industry, because as soon as I finished my level, I joined Lanka Volatile as a trainee clerk, and from there only I joined Ceylon.
Right. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. I forwarded your email to Mr. Arvind Perera. I think he's not very keen from what I understand. He says Middle East returnees should be having money and we should not be giving discounts.
Okay.
We'll see. Then we have this, he explained entrepreneur versus project. A good project in bad hands. Right? He said fighting with bank. If a customer is fighting with the bank from the start, then we should not go ahead. Right? An average project in determined hands. Do you have any examples of this type of situations? A good project in bad hands which has failed? And he also said, any customer is a good customer until you give the loan. That's what one of my DGMs also when I joined HNB was saying. Until we give the loan, they are very good. After that only we have to go behind them. Until then they are coming behind us. Right. I think we go to the next slide. Now he defined a good project, right? Easy to implement, easy to operate, easy to sell, motivated employees, credit control. What are the risks of a good project? This is a very good definition of a good project. So what are the risks of? Because I think when it is easy everything, the entry barriers are low. So any other party also can do the same. So the competition can increase when everything is easy, right? So there should be some area where there is a difficulty. If not, there can be more competition in this type of business. What are the entry barriers normally? To industry, what are the entry barriers? If it is very high investment.
Capital investments.
Yeah, very good. So, others?
Competitor pressure.
Competitor's
pressure.
Competitor pressure. Yeah, I think Mr. Perera also mentioned that is actually you can enter, but you will have problems. Like he said, investors have invested in a project and that is going very well. They would have loans, nothing. Then newcomer comes to the market, to the business, and when he enters the market, what will the other party do? They will reduce the prices, right? So that new party will have a problem because their costs are higher. They must have taken loans So that is way of cutting off competition. And another way I know these suppliers to army. There are suppliers to army like Rhodesia, Vikram Ratna, David Vikram Ratna, all those things. Army or the forces, they don't pay easily. They take long time to pay, right? So there's, I think these people who are, they have oligopoly. And the others cannot come into that because they cannot have that financial strength to withstand payment delays. So that is one area people can, because of the delays in payment, there can be oligopoly developed. Okay. And people cannot come to the market. And another way is technology, right? Now, what is happening with vaccination? Vaccinations are patented, right? And I have been reading some email going on my batchmates group, and when even the governments have helped those companies like US companies to develop the vaccine, but it is private sector is doing the business, and they will make a lot of money because of the vaccines. And I think the US president has said yesterday that they are going to remove the patent restriction for everyone to get vaccines. Hope it will come through, but that through technology, you can, it's a barrier, because if you have the technology and you have a patent, and others cannot come into that market, right? So that is another barrier to enter. Okay, we'll go to the, any others want to add anything?
Maybe strict regulations.
Yeah, that is preventing competition. No? Yeah, that is actually the Sri Lanka is the example. We stopped suddenly import of some items, right? So then there is,
Yes.
yeah, that's what you were mentioning, no? And then
Yes, sir, that's what I meant.
and then remember we were acquiring private companies. I think one government saying they had passed a bill and acquired some private projects, and so the government is running those, and government also doesn't run them properly, so they are going to be problem like this Gold Road next to Ceylon Bank. What is that hotel? That's a Selinco Group hotel that they took over. I think now they have put up some banners saying that it will be open end of this year, right? And there are some lights as well. That Selinco big building, you go on the Gold Road, you can see that. Yeah, government regulations can happen. Now I have experience once one government, right? They reduced excise duty on alcohol, not alcohol, on beer. So few beer companies started in Sri Lanka, and we financed one also, United Breweries, right? Then after 3 years, the same government increasing the duty on the alcohol content. So this company had very high alcohol content beer as well, and it was very popular among alcohol drinkers or beer drinkers. And suddenly they can't, their price is very high because there is high tax, high excise duty on the alcohol content. Right? So that type of things also happen. That is not actually entry barrier. That is where inconsistent policies of the government will affect the business. Right? Okay. We'll go to the next one. Bad hands. What is Mr. Perra explaining here? This is what he has said. qualities and characteristics of a bad employer, right? Bad company, right? Bad entrepreneur, right? He was saying about entrepreneurs. So they don't have, they are impulsive, that is, they are not thinking and analyzing and making decisions. They don't have any patience, gets very emotional and carefree, that is, they are just spending money without looking at the repercussions. Antagonistic, that is, always getting into arguments and no sense of logic, and a bad employer. Employees are not treated properly. So that's what he mentioned as bad hands. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Project cost estimate. I think he explained underestimate and overestimate. Did you understand that those calculations? He clearly explained, when you underestimate, what will happen? You, after all the loan is dispersed, you have a balance part, cost overrun, right? This is the example he said. Project cost 125 million. Customer says project cost is 100 million. So you give a 75% loan, equity 25, total funding 100 million. 75 is bank loan. Right? Then when that 100 million is spent, still there is work to be done for 25 million. Right? And there is no equity, and hence it will be debt. Normally we put a condition that any cost overruns are to be from the promoter, the shareholders has to put in. But sometimes you can't implement that because they don't have money. So that's what he explained. Then the same example, now the project cost is same 100 million. Customer comes and tells us it's 125 million, right? So we give 75%, we have given 94 million, and the equity is only 6 million. This is very high risk, that more than the underestimating, overestimate can happen. I think that's why he wanted everyone to check all the project cost details, right? And I think we have to do that, because if not, we will get in trouble. And we can do something like this. If we have done some projects, similar projects, we can compare with those projects, right? And get some idea. Then he had about a few slides on pitfalls for cost calculation, right? Now, this is very good example. He said, if there are 5 acres, we should not take full 5 acres to the project cost, because we need only 1 acre of land, right? So we only take 1 acre of land cost as a project cost. But he said, but we can take the 5 acres for security, but only the project cost we take only 1 acre. So because if you take that, you inflate the project cost and inflate the equity, right? I think most of the project promoters would like to do that. Okay. So he explained pitfalls in project cost calculation, which is experience as a banker, now as the MD of Royal Ceramics. Proposed machinery. So I think he mentioned about this permanent working capital. The next one. He said full working capital should not be in capital project cost. What we have learned is we have to take the permanent working capital to the capital project cost. If not, we have a problem at the end of after project is over. Yeah. What he meant here is you take the permanent working capital, but you have other requirements like LCs, guarantees, all these things that can be outside. But on the project cost, you take the permanent working capital. And use of short-term loans and initial losses. And yeah, initial losses and teething problems, right? He gave an example. I think that he gave it for this, that in Kalpitia side, there is a, I think he said solar power, I think it's a wind power project promoted by LVL Energy, and they are generating power because of the line. There was some problem, and their switchyard is inside the Norotchole power plant, and that has not been repaired by the CEB. And during the COVID time, the Norotchole, they were not allowing anyone to come inside the power plant because of the risk. So I have to check again with LVL Energy whether now that is in operation, because that is connecting and selling to the grid. If not, the shareholders will not get much dividends because of that income loss. So there can be teething problems. All the projects we can have, because unexpected things that when you go to start, you will have a problem. And for that he gave some remedies, some answers how to handle it. Now, for credit exposure, without telling the customer, you have unadvised limits, right? So if there is cost overrun, we have contingencies, all these things. And if you can have unadvised limits, I don't know whether technically you can do it. So then we can use that limit if there's an emergency, if there's a teething problem at the beginning. So preliminary expenses, I think this meant the expenses like this interest during construction, IDC, right? And other expenses. There are so many, getting CB approvals, water approval, all those are preliminary expenses. And infrastructure. This is excellent point. He gave availability, cost, sustainability, right? This power lines thing, I think he explained in this case. You know, we can say there is power supply available close by, but we have to see whether we can get. Now he said transformer must be full, then they cannot give our project, right? One of the examples we are sharing today, they don't have grid supply. They are using generators because they haven't got the grid supply. So that type of situation can happen, right? Right. I think that this he didn't explain very much because he has already explained in the previous slides. But all these areas you can keep in mind to check when you have a project: water, gas, electricity, steam, compressed air, vacuum, water treatment, roadways, workshops, warehousing, and material handling equipment. So these are very good points where he has given some idea of what to check during what to include in the project cost calculation, and to check whether these are available. Then the importance of visits, right? And not only during project in construction, I think first, before approving a loan, we should go and visit. I have had problems like that, and sometimes we don't go and we ask the manager or someone to say, look at the project and give a report. Sometimes after we have given the loan and go for project inspection, what we expect is not there. That is totally different thing. Right? When I joined HNB, there was a hotel project they have started already, and that city office was the big customer of city office. And I went for the inspection after joining the bank, project finance. And the project has already started and no equity has come in. The loan has been released, about half of the loan, right? Because they are one of the best customers. And we later, to complete the project, we had to give additional loan. If not, the project cannot be completed. This project is in Maravilla, Club Palm Bay, Maravilla. And it had so many problems later as well because of the country situation. So visits are very important. I know all of you are now. I don't know whether you are going for visits these days. If you are handling projects, because of the situation, you may not be going for project visits. So when we go for visits, the promoter, the shareholder or the directors will understand that we are very serious, right? Because we want the project, we are very interested in the project, and he will also have more interest in the project because the bank is coming behind and inspecting and giving advice and checking the project cost and checking whether how much equity is coming and whether the project is behind schedule. All these things we have to check, and that gives confidence to the promoter also that bank is also very much interested in the project. And Mr. Perra explained project completion report. I think he said it was done only at DFCC. He started at DFCC project finance. I think, are you all doing project completion reports? I think no bank must be doing other, maybe NDB must be doing it. Very important, actually. I haven't even done project. Yeah. Someone wants to speak? Project completion report to learn lessons, right? Because we would have done some mistakes, so that we have done very well in some areas, so we learn, we can improve on that. If we have done some mistakes, we can learn from that and may not make the same mistake next time. So those things we can learn from project completion report. Right. And then, so he was explaining all these cost calculations. Right. I am not going into details on this. Selling distribution cost, very good point here, mode of selling. Are we having our own network, agents, dealers, OEM? Now, when we have our own network, it will be costly. Like we have a branch network, then it will be costly, right? So if it is agents, dealers, but we'll have to see how the competition is doing. If the competition is doing differently, then we'll have to do that way, because if not, the market, the customers will not come to us. Have I shared this ATM story with you? When I think early 90s, only HSBC had ATMs in their head office branch, and no other bank had ATMs. Then Sampath Bank just started, I think in maybe 1990s, and then they came up with ATMs, and they were having in their branches off-site. So what happened? All the other banks, you have to be in the competition, you have to provide the same service. So everyone followed Sampath Bank. Like that, when you do selling and distribution, you need to have the same services to the customers like your competition. Like this, now these Cargills, all these people have their, what is that called? We order online ordering. And first time when the COVID struck, John Keys Super didn't have that system properly. And even, I don't know with the Cargills, but now Cargills have a very good system. You order, you can get it the same day or next day in some time. pots. Right? So the next one. So selling and distribution. Now he was telling that Royal Ceramics, before he became the MD, there was who was the previous MD of Royal Ceramics before Mr. Aravind Pera? It is Nimal Pereira. Nimal Pereira was long time friend of Mr. Dhammika Pereira, and they say he was the advisor to Dhammika Pereira, and but they fell off, and then Nimal left, and he has started something on his own. And I have known him for a long time. And when he was MD, also I go and get discount when I buy something from Royal Ceramics. After Nimal Pera, Aravind Pera came, even when I had to buy something, I get discount from Mr. Aravind Pera also. You also can contact him if you want to get some discounts when you construct your houses. Right. Where were we? 16. Yeah, now you have to combine with Mr. Aravind Pera's presentation and Mrs. Nilunika Jayasingha's presentation and see what is she was speaking about risk in project finance, right? Mr. Aravind Pera looked at also some risk and try to study both and see what you can learn from that. Okay. And this is the last slide. And Mr. Aravind Pera didn't like me mentioning the name of the Interbatch Porcelain local shareholder, right? And this is closer to 25 years back this happened. And I was later told by the consultant who took us for a ride that they were aware of this problem. And I think the lead bank also would have been aware. But four banks were in trouble. And so when customer take you for a ride, I think everyone should know who the customers who take people for ride. That's what I was sharing the name. Tharindra, you had a question from Mr. Pera. How do you check everything? So, do you check everything, Tharindra? Is Tharindra there today? Yes. Tharindra, are you there? Looks like she's not there. I think Mr. Aravind Pera said so many things to check, but I don't think many of you have time to check. And the problem is in the banks, there is this target. And every month, maybe CFO or someone in asking, have you achieved your target, your meeting? So because of the target, sometimes you are getting pressurized to approve some facilities which are on the borderline. Right? So you have to be very careful to try to achieve targets. You can get in trouble. So as Mr. Pera said, you have to check all the everything as much as possible. I think NDB has a good system. They have engineers separately and the relationship managers separate. So engineers will go and check engineering side. Even HNB has for environmental thing, they have a separate officer for the bank, and he will go and check the environmental areas, environmental and social management, all these areas. He will go and check and give a report. I think other banks must be having because, right. Okay, we'll go to the paper. Any questions? So I am still presenting to everyone. Right. Okay. We'll go through this paper and you take notes if you need any area. I have not done much changes other than the names, right? And this is called Agritech Private Limited, and they have come for a loan of 300 million to part finance development of aquaponic farm in Bangladesh.
ඒක ෂෙයා වෙලා නම් නෑ සර්.
share වෙලා නැද්ද?
ඔව් සර්.
ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ මම share එක ගැහුවේ නැද්ද කොහෙද? Okay.
now හරි සර්. okay.
හරි මම ඒතේ ෆයිල් එක වහලා ඒක හරි නේද?
හරි සර් හරි.
Right, okay. Thank you, Menaka. Right, can all of you see now, right? Okay. Now, Agritech Private Limited, they are asking for a loan of 300 million to part finance the development of aquaponic. Anyone know what is aquaponic? Right? Yeah. And I also got to know by reading this paper. Aquaponic is, I think this is very good.
The greenhouse technology one where the
Okay. Greenhouse technology is correct. We have another one. But in addition to greenhouse, right, aquaculture also is there. Then that's how that aquaponics coming. Right? Have you found
the media is water instead of soil.
Yeah, media is water, right? Very good. This moon, you know?
No, sir, we haven't.
Right, very good. Your knowledge is. So now you can start explaining. I will listen. Okay. I think no, very good. Actually, this one, this technology now with this problem of stopping import of chemical fertilizer, people can start, but it's costly to start, right? And but it is use low land area and the productivity is high. You get what is that? Carbonic, no? What is it called? You get chemical and pesticide free organic vegetables. Organic, yeah, right. So this aquaponics is that combines conventional aquaculture. Aquaculture is raising aquatic animals like fish and all these areas, fish, shrimp, all these with hydroponics. Hydroponics is cultivating plants in water, like Nuvani mentioned, it's cultivating plants in water in a symbiotic environment. So greenhouse technology is used for the same to create a better environment for crop growth. Right? With the above technology, APL proposes to introduce modern agricultural practices to produce high quality chemical and pesticide free organic leafy greens and vegetables that is expected to be exported primarily to Middle East, Asia and Europe. Right? So this is the first time in Sri Lanka they are doing it according to this paper. Right? And I asked the manager who was doing this paper, I asked, why did they take a risk like this? Because I have explained to you, the banks are not there to take new entrant risk because the banks doesn't have that capability. Yeah. But I think the customer is well known to the bank, so they have taken the risk. But the project is not yet completed, and project has some problems. And but the loan, maybe the interest is paid by the promoter of the project with this income from some other sources, right? So first thing is corporate information of borrower, right? Because when something goes to the approval authority, they want to know who is the borrower and what they are going to do, right? Then the legal form, these actually the approving authority need not know what is the date of incorporation registered office, but for the completion's sake, you need this information, right? Then the promoter is the promoter has 55%, 2 sons 15% each, and the daughter 15%. Not given anything to the wife, only 1 share. Okay. So 100%. But wife is a director, and 1 son is the CEO director. Right? This company is called Agritech Private Limited. Okay.
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir, this is not what we have shared on 24th, right?
24.
The name is different also.
No. That was the assignment I shared, maybe. That is that, what you are saying is that Moldiv project, no?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the assignment. This I am sharing for you to get some information, how you present
sir.
paper. Okay.
Right. Got it. Okay.
Right. So you give the corporate information, then the shareholding, board of directors, right? And according to this, they already have 60 million loan approved to APL for constructing their office at Chilau, right? And already the loan has been paid. That was on 31st October, it was 35.75 million. About 25 million they have already paid, right? And the repayment of the loan has been satisfactory. So now description of shareholders, brief description of shareholders. In the assignment, I think that is there given by the investment bank, but maybe you can add use your imagination, and maybe you add some more on the project promoters, the shareholders in your assignment. Okay. So this is Miris Private Limited. I changed the name of the actual company. But Miris Private Limited is not the shareholder of APL, right? They are like a sister company. They are a sister company of APL because it has the same shareholding structure. APL has the same shareholding structure of Miris. So Miris is not the parent company of APL, and both are sister companies. Same shareholders, same shareholding structure. Right? And it's a chartered construction consultancy firm based in Sri Lanka and Oman. Right? And they have been incorporated a long time back in Sri Lanka in 1968 for providing project management, quality surveying, quantity surveying, and cost consulting services in the region. And quantity surveying in Middle East, a lot of Sri Lankans are involved in Middle East quantity surveying. Right? With the potential in the consultancy service segment, which could be widely used in the Middle East countries, NPL initiated construction sector consultancy branch in Oman 2009. So they started in Sri Lanka 1968, went to Oman in 2009. Now, and the NPL, they say, is the only construction company in Sri Lanka regulated by Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors in UK, right? And they have ISO 9001 and other certifications. I'm getting a call from one of HNB managers whose birthday was today. I tried to call him. He could not answer the phone. He's now Candy senior manager. Okay. NPL is the only construction, right? Okay. And they have done consultancy work for USD 9 billion. Consultancy work is not 9 billion. the projects are worth USD 9 billion, right? These are the work they have done, but I think if the bank should have included the amount of consultancy, right? What their fee, right? They have put the segment, name, location. They could have put another column and put the fee they are expecting, right? So then it will be more better, but this has been given why? To show that they are involved in large projects. That's why they have given all these big projects details. So here is private limited financials, audited financials. Now this paper is done in 2018, like October, I think. So they have given the financials. I'm normally good at finding mistakes in papers. Now, this Nirunika Jaisingh, those days when we working with me, always bring the paper and tell me, Mr. N. Nayaga can find mistakes, so go through and give us, correct our papers. Right? So now here this paper, all 2015, and this is called 2018-17. So it should be 2017-18. And you can see the revenue coming down, and operating profit is negative in 2017-18. Net profit also negative. Right? The reasons are given under the financial analysis. The reason is there are delays in getting certificate of consultants work on various jobs. When there are cost overruns, they have to take long time for approval of their consultancy expenditure. So because of that, they are having problems. And I was told by the bank, they have sold the company recently. They have sold this company recently to some other party, maybe foreign party. Because I wanted to check the progress of the project, because according to this, the project should have been operating now. I was told it is the net worth also coming down. So you will have to do this analysis. So revenue gradually dropped 8% and 7%. Right? So you explain what is happening in the financials. And the net worth also, the impact of delay in variations on revenue has made the net profit to drop, according to net loss of 20 million in 2016-17, eventually reducing the net worth of the company. Right? Yeah. 2017-18 is draft. All the others are audited by Ernst & Young. And this NPL is, there are no borrowings. Right? So CRIB also satisfactory. Now coming to the project rationale. Up to now, what we discussed with shareholders, directors, and the shareholder related companies. Right? Now coming to the project rationale. Now project rationale is 40% of Sri Lankan workforce engage in agriculture industry. And now recently I read an article by an economist in Sunday Times, and according to the World Bank data, Sri Lanka farmer earns 3,160 for the country's GDP, and average Israel farmer contributes $107,523 to Israel's GDP. You see? Our farmer only 3,160 per farmer, and that Israeli farmer is contributing $107,523 to Israel's GDP. So value-added share partly makes up GDP. Then I think they are value adding. Now Sri Lankan farmer doesn't add value to their products, but Israel they add value. And monthly Sri Lankan farmer income is $263, and Israel farmers' income is $8,960. So in principle, what is produced determines what is earned. So we don't know what to produce, which is high value crops. And Israel, they produce high value crops and they earn more money. I think Israel was created in 1948. It started from zero in 1948. We got independence in 1948. We had but heritage from British, and we started with a lead. And compare the two countries. Israel only 22,000 square kilometers. We are 62,000 square kilometers, and they have 9 million people, and we have 21 million people. So average farm size there in Israel is 33 acres. So here we have 40% in agriculture. I can't find how much there, but their average farm size is 33 acres. That is, one farmer has 33 acres. And here one farmer has 1 acre. So that's what our agriculture situation is. Hope the new restrictions will bring technology and this type of technology and develop the sector. So when you do a study also, when you do a paper, you have to do some research and get some information of what is happening. Actually, in this paper, they don't mention where this aquaponics used in the region. So as a result of high amount of toxic fertilizer and pesticides are being used in the produce or in the process of production. Sri Lanka, we use too much of chemical fertilizer. They have found out when the farm is small, they use more because to get more production. Right? When the farm is big, use less. Be used in producing the process of production, which has increased the rate of health risks for people, including children, in addition to the inefficiencies and post-crop wastage in this process. Health risk in skin, kidney, and immune system due to harmful fertilizer and pesticide usage in vegetables and fruit production has created the need and demand for healthy and safe fresh produce in the world market. So what Project Rationale means giving a present situation and why we need to go for this type of product. So APL proposes to introduce modern agriculture practices that are well accepted and delivered in the world to produce high quality, healthy and chemical pesticide free leafy greens and vegetables that Sri Lanka is yet to adopt widely. The proposed modern agriculture practice will blend aquaponics with greenhouse technology, which has been successful in Asia and Middle East over the last 5 years. They say it's Asia and Middle East, but not specifically what are the countries. So the proposed project, now rationale was given, right? First we started with the shareholders, directors and companies, the group companies or the parent company. Now the rationale, now only we are coming to the project. So explaining the proposed project. I think when I was doing project finance also, same headings were there, I remember, but not much difference now. The proposed project will be in Bandaragini Chilau in 11.75 acres, right? But they are using only 4.5 acres initially. Okay. Greenhouse is a controlled environment which is designed after carefully studying the climate conditions of rain, humidity, temperature, wind, etc. The design of this greenhouse has elements of external sprinklers to stimulate rainfall, to cool the greenhouse at peak hours of heat, and radiation. Internal automated shading system, climate control, withstand a wind speed of 120 kilometers per hour. So internal wind speed of 4 kilometers per hour and sensors to detect temperature, humidity and radiation, etc. The atmospheric temperature of the greenhouse is designed to be between 27 to 30 degrees and water temperature between 24 to 26 degrees sunlight and sunlight of 70% to 90% during the morning hours. So all are controlled atmosphere, and all these things they would have taken from the project proposal given by the client. I don't think anyone was aware to evaluate whether these things are actually feasible. Right? So the aquaponics system will combine conventional aquaculture with hydroponics we discussed earlier, and go through a series of filtration steps in order to break down the byproduct by microorganisms, which is subsequently fed to the hydroponic system, where the plants absorb the nutrients. So first they have the fish, and then from fish aquaculture system they filtrate water to the microponics, the aquaponics system, right? Not aquaponics. Filtration in order to break down the product by microorganism, and subsequently to the hydroponic system, where the plants absorb the nutrients in the water, where the water is recirculated back to the aquaculture system. So it's like a circular system. This will utilize only 1/20th of water compared to traditional farming, and is proven to produce yield at double growth rate with 50% more nutrients produced in 20% less production areas than. So use 1/20th of water and double the growth rate, and with 50% more nutrients produced and 20% less area, less production area than the normal. So annual yield, so they have found these are the annual yield from 4.5 acres. Now the estimated production capacity is 54,000 kilograms of vegetables. How did they get that? 54,000 kilograms of vegetables. There is some, this fish is 120,000. This says green gram 620,000 and 26,000, but the approximately 54,000 kilogram vegetables and greens per month. So it's not matching. That's what I have highlighted. Okay. So their main goal is to export the production to international markets. And now they have been negotiating with reputed buyers in the Middle East, Asia and Europe. So they are going to import feed for the fish feed and seeds from US and India with the approval of local authorities. Right? So all these are all technical details now given, right? For the proposed project, all the technical details are given, and then they are giving the approvals for the project. Right? What are the approvals they have received? Or they have to receive. So some of the approvals they have received, some they have to get it. Okay. Right. So modern agriculture techniques, the company intends to acquire professional consultation. Now, even the promoters don't know this industry. You see, they are engineering consultancy firm working in Oman and Sri Lanka. So how are they going to get the technology? They are going to get water farms, aquaponics, or WFA will be their consultant. Right? So they have signed an MOU on 15th October 2018. So these are the comfort factors of getting the consultant. So WFA, the consultant will agree to give technical and commercial expertise, right, for 5 years. And WFA is assuring the best industry standards for design and update. But I think there is a risk because the consultants, if the consultants doesn't give the best consultancy services or they leave midway, they can be in trouble. But that risk the bank has not identified, and bank think maybe this is reputed consultant. They would have seen the MOU as well. That's why they are not having that. So that now they are giving consultants what they have done, right? This WFA, the consultants, they have consulted these projects, the countries, China, India, Oman, Bahrain, and the sizes and the established here. So I think the bank would have checked with some of those customers whether the projects are doing well. Now, I was saying Interbatch Porcelain, that Interkiln Corporation of USA has done similar things in China, but we haven't checked. Our lead bank, when we wanted to put some conditions, we were told if we put conditions, this US investment will go back. So because of that, we could not put any conditions for disbursement as well. So they have to check whether this information is correct, at least one or two. Cost of the proposed project. Now coming to we got the project rationale, then the project technical details, now coming to the cost of the project. Right? The cost of the project is, this enabling works is, I think, pre-operational expenses. There was STAR and explanation, design, engineering, land preparation, professional services, and approvals. Right? They have put 10 million. Main works, 362 million. And consultancy, 19.5. And the other cost, land cost, I think, as Mr. Arvind Pera mentioned, they would have taken, hopefully, that 4.5 acres only. Right? And the interest during construction, 33. So the total cost is 485.6, equity is 185.6, loan is 300. So debt equity is 62 to 38. So the promoters have already infused 18 million to the project and will increase the equity excluding land to 75 million prior to drawdown of the loan. That is, loan disbursement condition is promoter without the land, they have to invest 75 million equity before drawing down the loan. So thereafter the loan drawdown will be on a pro rata basis. Here the environmental and social management. The proposed agriculture system is not polluting, right? So APL has already obtained CA approval and which has to be renewed every year. Now there is a diagram explaining the aquaponic industry. Aquaponic industry is, you have fish tanks, right? From the fish they produce waste, right? And the waste goes to microbes and worms, and then it goes to plants. Waste converted to, and plants filter water that returns to fish. So when the water goes through microbes and worms convert waste to fertilizer for plants, right? So this waste is converted by microbes and worms to fertilizer for plants, and the plants will clean the water and the water go back to fish. So that is the process. Right. So again, they are explaining that, I think it was explained earlier also. So compared to traditional agricultural and aquaculture practice, aquaponics and hydroponics system help enhance productivity with minimum inputs. Right. According to new market research, the global aquaponics and hydroponics systems and equipment market is expected to reach USD 2 billion by 2022. So the benefits. Now, after the project cost breakdown, coming to the current request. Right? The current request is what the bank has to give for this project. Right? So asking for 300 million to part finance. Interest rate is 2.25 about AWPLR monthly review, and they are trying to get a refinance scheme under Jai Suru through Ministry of Finance. If they get it, that part of the loan interest rate will be reduced. And the mortgages. So they are going to take primary mortgage over project assets, including land, buildings, and equipment, plus 5 additional properties. Now, their normal project financing is we get only the project assets, but here I think the project assets it's not much worth, right? So valuable so they have to get the commitment of the project promoters. They have taken 5 more properties from the 4 more properties other than the actually 5 more properties. These all are, and in addition to the main project property. So Agritech company owns 3 properties, shareholder owns I think a residential house, and Agritech owns Ragama building. That is earlier we were told they have given a loan for the office building. So the estimated value is 205.6. So I think we don't need to go to detail. This number 5 has been already mortgaged to the bank, but the loan has come down, and there is a leeway of 24.25 million. So they are increasing the leeway to by 50 million. To 50 million, enhancing the mortgage to 85.75. So to get, and then the joint and several personal guarantees of 5 shareholders of the company. Actually, it is all 5 are shareholders, is 5 shareholders of the company. And official valuations will be obtained prior to creation of mortgages. The bank has not done valuation until getting the approval. Right? And so they say official valuation. And no mortgage property is released until the loan is settled in full. Repayment 5 years, 9 months. After initial grace period of 1 year, 3 months, I think if it was given in 2018-19 January, 2020 March, April, they should have started repayment, but the project is not completed up to now. The reason is area politician, Rajya Sabha member has delayed some approvals, expecting some money, and these people have not paid any money to him, and finally they have gone and complained to the Prime Minister systems and got the approvals. Okay, so these are the details of the facilities, right? They have broken down the security. So this 335.75 is because of the balance of the office room. Right. Now another point is, I think you may not be able to do with the assignment because there's a new project, bank share of wallet. This is from this customer, how much the bank has earned, right, in 3 years. profitability forecast. The assumptions are organic vegetable cultivation and inland fish cultivation. Right? And then they have given the estimated by the borrower, they have given production per annum, and the bank has forecast at reduced level. Bank has reduced the forecast level, right? And accordingly, the aquaponics revenue mix is as follows. I think we have gone past 8, so we will take a break after we finish this. Herbs and leafy green revenue 87% and tomato 6%. No need to go into detail. So summary of the forecast, profitability forecast. Right? They have done the EBITDA and the debt service cover ratio. Right? So I think you have in the assignment also some of this information given, but you have to produce your again in the paper, right? Maybe summary of the forecast. Then after the forecast, analysis is given, right? And we are saying that debt service cover ratio is good, right? And they have other income also to support. And for AWPL, now the rate is AWPL plus 2.25, right? But taken for computation 12.5%. And at the rate when they were calculating it was 11.95, but they have used a higher rate for calculation. I think now the rates must be low. So, but then the project is not over. If the project was over and it was in production, then the service cover ratio will be higher because the interest rates are lower. And done a sensitivity analysis. Remember, we are about to do sensitivity analysis in our project analysis class, and sensitivities, they have taken the base case and to debt service cover ratio to be 1, what will be the total production, right? How much that production will come down to make the debt service cover 1. So it has to come down by 50% both, right? So year 2 also they have done is 36%, right? So then they say the above sensitivity analysis indicate the project company could absorb variations up to 52% and 36% in year 1 and 2 respectively. So that's even their production is 52% less in year 1 or 36% less in year 2, that they are not going to get affected the debt service cover ratio. So the risk analysis, they are looking at financial risk. Now the risk analysis, right? So financial risk, and what they say is financial analysis was done on conservative manner. So, and the financial projections base case is 85%, making 85% of the actual estimation made by the company. So they reduce the projections by 15%, the bank. The risk mitigation factors is that CEO, the chairman CEO, jointly has an income of monthly 3.8 million, right? And I was told with that income only they are paying the interest these days. Cost overruns, company has allocated only 1.4%, right? Cost of the project, around 7 million. And they say it is not adequate. We do comfort fact that promoters themselves are actually engaged in design and construction of the project. In case of a cost overrun, promoters are expected to absorb the cost of by infusing additional equity. Yeah. So that is normal thing. But if something get delayed and they don't have money, the bank will have to advance further. The technical risk. So no experience in aquaponics, but they say because of the agreement with this consultant that is mitigated. Right? But this is very high, technical risk is very high, and even the market risk is there because they don't have expertise, their previous experience in marketing this. And I think they should have discussed the security risk as well, and the operational risk. There's higher than usual capital investment. They say this is operational maintenance risk is low because they are getting these consultancy services, right? And there should be this like political risk. Actually, when you consider Sri Lanka, we don't consider political risk because normally when we consider political risk of other countries, right? So, but we have risk now. They have faced this approval risk, right? So those type of risk also have to be, and the consultant risk should be considered. Now these risks are over. Market also security risk is the recommendations. So the project department of this bank is recommending, right, this project to the approving authority. And so you have to, in your analysis, if you are recommending the proposal, you have to make the recommendation. If you are not recommending that, then you have to mention in the recommendation. So in a national point of view, this is the first time aquaponics has been implemented in Sri Lanka at commercial scale, and bank gets the opportunity to be the financier to the first aquaponic project in Sri Lanka to produce toxic free. I think in a way that is good for the bank, but that is a risk for the bank, right? Because you don't want to be the first project and first failure as well. So it is a risk for the bank. So then the pre-disbursement conditions, there are so many conditions put in here. So I hope you get some idea of how to prepare. Most of you will be having experience and how to prepare a proposal for approval. Right, that is your assignment, and some areas to be considered I have shared with you. Shall we take a break? So I'm back now. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I will go through this one fast. Where only we look at the headings, right? This is another project proposal for a loan prepared by a bank to get the approval of the credit committee. It is CFS Private Limited term loan of 190 million and POD of USD 2 million, POD and working capital facility. And this is for the fisheries industry. And the shareholders are given is this company. These two are companies, FHL and NJL. They own 87.5%, and PG, who is the managing director, owns 12.5%. So the business is processing and exporting fish and frozen seafood items. Okay. And they had a earlier shareholder from UK, 50% shareholding from one L Limited UK. CFS bought it over in 2018. FHL bought it over in 2018 from the UK company. Then this FHL also company operating in the fish business. Same industry, supply processed seafood to the local market. But CFS is exporting. So they give some information of what they are doing. Primarily process fish, earlier they were only exporting fresh fish, but after the new shareholder came, their chairman, who is SJ, has said they have to go into the frozen fish as well. So now they are presently they have 85 to 15 fresh fish to frozen fish. Okay, and they are going to expand the frozen fish facilities to have a more frozen fish items to be exported. And they are having a state-of-art factory in, and they have this ISO BRC approvals. And BRC is like a standard. When you have that standard, you can export to different countries. Now this paper says, now there are now corporate information of the shareholders. FHL apprehended the local market in 2 sectors. I think that word is not very correct. So FHL approached the local market in 2 sectors. They have started in 2015. This company started in 2006, the borrowing company. And the shareholders, main shareholder 50% started in 2015. So the information is given. Then the other company, NJL, they have started in 2002. Other shareholder, second shareholder. So the board of directors is the 100% owner of the 50% shareholding company is the chairman, and the managing director has 12.5%, and another director like an independent director. So their profiles are given, and this chairman has a lot of experience in the fisheries industry, but started at Bodyline, his first job. Then the managing director also has a lot of experience, and he has joined in 2004. That's when they started CFS as the managing director and shareholder. And this director also has having had trawlers. I think this the chairman, they are having trawlers as well. Next, financial analysis of the borrower. Right now, this is existing company, so they have. I think Mr. Aravind Pera also mentioned, when the existing company is there, you have to analyze their financials. Right now, this is existing company, and they are going for an expansion project. So the financials are analyzed. Auditors are unqualified audit, right? Margins, yeah, we will not go into detail because that is not relevant. And the export revenue is 69%, and local sales 16%. Contract processing is for exporters, they give supply contract. Okay. So I think the direct exports have increased from 2018 to 2019, 69% to 75%. And the chairman has experience in USA as well. But net profit margins are low. The reason, this is despite increase in revenue, net profit margin of the company are low. This is primarily due to the high cost of electricity as a result of entire energy requirement for processing and freezing being supplied through generators. Okay. Remember, Mr. Aravind Pera said that you have to look at whether that the transformer can supply. No, so that transformer cannot supply them adequate electricity. So the factory in total consumes approximately 8,000 kilowatt hours of electricity per annum, and power from main grid is only used for lighting purposes, which is approximately 15 to 20% of total energy requirement. This is due to the absence of high voltage CEB power line the breakup of total cost of electricity over the years are as follows. So they have been running on generators at high cost because they didn't have the CB power supply, what is it, high voltage CB power supply. So electricity from CB is only 4 million cost, generator charges 24 million. Then the financial analysis of the parent. I think the previous one, we had financial analysis of the parent or the sister company before, but here they are doing the finances of the parent. Here, parent is the 50% shareholding of company, right? So they have net profit margin. Their net profit margin also from 47.7% has come down to 7.2% in 2019. So they have taken a loan to buy CFS. So those are the finance costs. Net profit has dropped due to the following reasons. Finance costs paid to the term loan obtained for the acquisition of CFS. Right? Increase in employment card and increase in salary costs. Could be satisfactory. Then the project rationale. Now we have come to the project rationale. Right? Project rationale is that they have they can export more frozen seafood, so they want to expand their frozen seafood facility. So existing plant is not possible, so they are having another plant in the same factory premises. So the cost of the project, right, constructions, all these things, and how it is being financed. 252 million, there is a grant available, it seems, from the government, Ministry of Primary Industries and Social Empowerment grant. And if that grant doesn't come, the equity holders will put that money. Environmental and social management. Right, here only they say the existing and proposed seafood processing plant has proper disposal and water treatment system to reduce the impact it has to the environment. Assistant Manager, Sustainable Business of Bank visited the plant and the premises and was satisfied with the sustainable management, processing and environmental aspect of the plant. So this bank has an assistant manager, sustainable business. So he is going and visiting and saying this is having proper systems. So competitors in the fish processing industry. So about the competitors they have put, there are John C, Alex Marine, and then this Global Seafoods. Global Seafood, I have been to their facility when we financed Global Rubber. Global Rubber is doing very well now, and they have moved out of HNB after me and my boss went out of project finance and corporate banking, and they have gone to commercial bank, and their MD is Prabhat Subhasinghe, who was the export board I think chairman for 1 year, and so their Global Seafood is also close to the Global Tire factory, and so they are also doing very big export of seafood. So the current request, then the current request, project rationale, the competition, then the current request. So you can see, depending on the industry, the format will change, right? So our assignment is different business, so you can change the format. Okay. So now the current request term loan with the interest same as the previous one, 2.25% or AWPLR, and here They are taking the primary mortgage over the project property, right? For 190 million, and personal guarantees for 190 million. Why 190 million? Term loan is 190 million. Okay. And they have a packing credit of USD 700,000. Right? And the POD of USD 600,000 against cash balance. Right? Packing credit securities, concurrent mortgage of US dollars 1.4 million of project property, including land, buildings, personal guarantees of 1.4 million. There's another short-term loan of 700,000 USD. So that's why they took 1.4 million personal guarantee and mortgage 1.4 million USD. So now there is a loan given by another bank to this company. So what they are going to do is settle that loan from the approved loan facilities and get the mortgage release. So facilities enjoyed, already they are having 69 million given on personal guarantees without any other security. Right. Then the term loan, repayment terms, then the OD limit, packing credit limit, and another OD limit against the mortgage. Okay. First OD limit against cash. Total exposure will be 550 million. So this is this wallet thing. The 70 million loan granted in 2018, what was the income? Right? Exposure to CFS group. Net exposure will be 445 million because 100 million is covered by cash. And the profitability forecast, assumptions, and the forecast by the bank, base case. Right? So different varieties, production per unit, and the price per kilogram. Now these are, when we did forecasting, we were taking the production price like that, the bank has done that. So the revenue is from different products, crabs 29, squid 15, like that. The cost of production estimated 75% of the revenue. So the summary of the profitability forecast, debt service cover is less than 1 in the year 1. After that, it is good. So the profitability forecast, financial analysis, then the risk analysis. Like the other one, you have to do the risk analysis. In your assignment also, you have to have the risk analysis of the project. I am not going through. So there are different risks, looking at financial risk, in that sub-risk, cost overrun, technical risk, operational risk, market risk, security risk. What is the security risk here? The land is paddy land. So they have got letter from Agrarian Development confirming that they can mortgage the land to the bank. But there are other risks. I have experience. We took over some land in Kegol in a project to support a project. They gave us that land. We bought that land. It was paddy land. It took long time to get approval to build in that land. Finally, HNB Kegol is now built on that paddy land. According to the title, it's paddy land, but it was not a paddy land. So paddy lands may be difficult to sell as well. So the recommendation, pre-disbursement conditions, special conditions. Right. Hope all of you got some idea of what should be in your assignment. What are the areas have to be covered, and how it should be presented. Any questions?
Sir, are there any financial on this project?
Yeah. You didn't see? I'll show you, Gavin. Okay. Are you asking this what I presented or in the assignment?
Assignment, sir.
Assignment.
Yeah.
Assignment, we'll look at it. Yeah. If there is no information, you have to generate information. Okay, we'll go through this. Now this is the format given by the investment bank. You have to change the format to the bank approval process, right? You don't have to write all these things in this proposal, this information memorandum. Yeah, also giving promoters to project. The project cost details are there below. Construction cost schedule. Okay. Here, not there, no? Yeah, forecast. This is the forecast available. Can you see?
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay, that is not much because the thing is, in this case, they will construct the resort and they are not going to run it, right? They are going to lease it to an international operator and the lease income and I only taken here. Okay, so they are not running because you have to understand the situation and they are going to pay the loan from the lease income, right? If the lease agreement is good with that operator, then from the lease income will be adequate to pay the loan. Okay. Study it and prepare your project proposal. Okay. Loan proposal. Any other questions? Okay then. Good night.